What is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Fenixx, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Friday, June 9th of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me in this moment of time on this video. Let's hop right into it, shall we? All right, guys. Hopefully, you guys have been having a good week. We are building up to this weekend. And, guys, today will be, I want to say, is the last full day. Actually, no, I think it's actually technically today and going into tomorrow. So, we will also have the weekend forecast coming out soon, too. But, this is going to be that last day of Pluto in Aquarius at 0 degrees until next year when it comes back to this space, right? So I talked about the time skip that we were experiencing on Friday, and we are just getting right to the edge. We're getting right to the edge of all this energy. So the day starts off with that moon in Pisces. It will ingress into Pisces pretty much as the sun is rising here on the East Coast. It'll be at 0 degrees, like pretty much right as that's happening, right? So we got that energy moving in, and it is going to be making, the semi-sextile over to Pluto. What's really interesting, honestly, guys, is that Friday is just sort of like the precursor to the weekend as far as all this energy is building. We've already had Venus, it's squaring the nodes right now, right? At 3 degrees. It's going to be squaring that energy today, and it's going to be getting closer to that square with Jupiter, right? It's already opposed Pluto. It's still within a 3 degree orb, but it's already opposed Pluto. And this today with Friday, honestly, with the moon being in Pisces, there's definitely going to be this pull. It's definitely going to be interesting because Pisces, being that it is that 12th sign of the zodiac, it does have elements and sort of facets of it that remind us of every other sign that came before it. So it's very much like this review kind of energy. Not only that, but we are going to be coming into that third quarter square of the sun as well. It's not going to happen exactly on Friday. It's going to happen more on Saturday as far as that aspect goes, but we are getting closer to that energy. The moon will conjunct Saturn too this day. So whereas the moon in Aquarius was definitely looking for some sort of detachment, especially from the world in many ways, so we can kind of come within and kind of find our inner peace and our inner world and find the value there. That moon in Pisces is, instead of detachment, it's about escapism. So there's going to be this sort of desire, especially for most of the day, to kind of emotionally escape, if you will. Especially considering the fact that as you move that moon forward, oh wait, no, I have it set to day. Hold on, let me set this to hours. Okay, cool. As you move this moon forward, once it comes to 3 degrees, it's going to make a nice little trine over to the south node. And it's also going to make a sextile over to the north node of Taurus. Now, this is kind of major because this is going to be the last time that we get a moon trining the south node in Scorpio, while also, I want to say it's the last time because I don't think by the time the moon comes back around, I want to say that it's going to be like it's very close. This is either the last time or the second to last time that we have the moon actually making this sextile over to the north node in Taurus, because it will be coming into Aries very soon. We are actually coming into a week where we're going to be seeing a lot of we're going to be seeing a lot of transits. That's going to be either the last time that we see them until next year, or the last time that we see these transits for a while. So that's kind of the interesting thing about it. Honestly, like I said, Friday is just sort of like the building blocks for this energy. But as you can see, that moon's going to trine over to the south node. So it's a harmonious energy. So there can, and 3 being that number of, Jupiter, of Sagittarius, there's going to be this element where we kind of want to explore these aspects, kind of, try and discover the journey as far as that goes. But really, it's going to be better to pay attention to that sextile energy. The trine energy is going to be nice because it's a harmonious aspect where things could start to really feel aligned. Whereas the sextile, I see the sextiles as more of an opportunity, and whereas the trine is sort of like at least in this case, it's definitely like the flashy car. It's kind of like the very nice thing that seems like it's already all put together. Whereas this Taurus energy right here is something that you kind of have to build, if you will. So it's like the moon in Pisces is going to definitely want to feel good. It's definitely want to feel. It's definitely going to want to feel the fantasy, kind of escape a little bit there. This is definitely going to be a weekend, especially with Pluto coming back into Capricorn, and we're already getting a lot of crazy like news things that are coming out too, right? Is that people are definitely going to be emotionally escaping this weekend. And I would definitely recommend not overdoing it this weekend. Um, I would definitely recommend staying grounded as much as you can this weekend too. It's not that we can't have fun and do things, especially with all this Leo energy anyways. So it's not that we can't have fun and stuff like that, but I think it's just we got to definitely be careful about who we spend our time with this weekend. You know what I mean? Because I think this weekend there's going to be some important conversations that are had. We are all going to be wanting to move forward into the future, but it's also going to be kind of looking into the past. So it's almost sort of like this final moment. It's like that final moment where when Naruto left, you know, for the like left with Jiraiya out of the village, hidden in the leaves. That's kind of where we are at the moment, and then we're about to hit the time skip. So when Pluto goes back into Aquarius, it's not Aquarius, excuse me. When it goes back into Capricorn, that's gonna be like the first part of the time skip because you got to remember Capricorn is its ruler is Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of time, and then Saturn will actually be coming retrograde soon too. It's the next planet that's going to go retrograde as well. So we are in many ways about to go through a time skip energy, and then we're going to be learning about all of that sort of stuff too. So this moon in Pisces said sextiling over to the North Node, we're not going to see this again for a while. And I kind of want to just, because I want to just verify too, if I just move this forward, by the time, by the time the moon comes all the way back around, so we will get one more sextile of this moon to the north node and to the south node. But as you can see, it'll hit 0 degrees while these are all at 0 degrees too. So we're going to get the more pure energy. So it's going to go from 3 degrees to 0 degrees. So by the time that this moon comes all the way back around, which will be, it looks like it'll be July 6th, is when it'll come all the way back around. You got to remember, this is squaring the area where Pluto and Venus made its opposition. So that's, like I said, we got a few weeks for that. We got a little, a little less than a month until that aspect happens. But like I said, this is going to be one of our last times to really take advantage of a moon in Pisces sextiling the North Node and sextiling, you know, sextiling the North Node and trining the South Node in Scorpio. This is all about, if we have like a dream or a fantasy and then we see an opportunity where we can actually physically manifest that stuff, this is going to be a very powerful moment. I think this is going to be the weekend where, because it is at 3 degrees, let me bring this all the way back. So because it's going to be, because it's going to be at 3 degrees, this is about having the vision. So this is going to be a week again, or Friday is going to be a week where we are establishing our vision for our dream, establishing the vision for what we are wanting to create, we are wanting to build, right? So you continue to move that forward, like I said. So it'll be at 3 degrees. Like I said, I didn't even mention the fact that it's going to, of course, king kunks over to Venus, that awkward stare from across the room, right? So I didn't even mention that aspect. Now Venus, of course, would much rather be where the moon is. It'd rather be in Pisces. It would much rather feel good in that space. But so trying to get all of these aspects of ourselves on board when we are in a world that doesn't exactly feel 100%. It doesn't, we don't, I can it's funny too. I was talking to my coworker today, and he was saying how he has not been getting great sleep lately. And I'm like, dude, I don't think anyone's getting great sleep lately. Like if you're getting good sleep right now, like some I'm like giving you like the side eye. I was like, how are you getting good sleep right now? There's like no possible way. How are you getting good sleep when we have Saturn in Pisces that's slowing down? We have Neptune in Pisces, right? And we have all of this stressful energy going on. I don't know how you're really getting a lot of good sleep right now. So that moon, like I said, it's gonna make that King Kunks over to Venus, kind of like I said, that awkward stare from across the room at 3 degrees. We are really looking to establish some sort of vision today. We do have, of course, the sun in Gemini at 18 degrees of Gemini. That 1 plus 8, comes back to the nine energy, which is all about Mars. So there's definitely this element where, we are wanting to act on things and move things forward. That moon is going to want to kind of escape, but it's going to be kind of hard to escape because of all the aspects that it's going to make. It's going to pretty much keep happening. Now, most of these aspects that it's making are very positive aspects too, but they don't come without its challenges, because I think it's like we are being given this vision. We're imbued with this vision from the universe on how to really move our life forward, how to manifest the life that we really want to. But like I said, it doesn't come without its challenges. And I think all throughout this week, we have been giving clues and little hints here and there on how we really can move this thing forward. So, we continue to move that moon forward. It's going to hit 5 degrees, so then it's going to make the sextile over to Jupiter, right? Um, yeah, it's going to make that sextile over to Jupiter at 5 degrees. Now, 5 degrees, of course, is the number of Mercury. So it's a very mercurial energy as far as that goes. You also have to think about it too. If you want to take it back to the whole, with the Greeks, right? Where you have like Hermes would be essentially the messenger of Zeus. So with it being right here at this energy with the 5 degrees, and it represents Mercury, and there's about to be a lot of focus on Mercury too, especially as it gets closer to Gemini, it gets closer to home. This world's about to become rather mercurial, and it's already pretty masculine. I was explaining to another one of my coworkers today, because she says she's been feeling off, and that a lot of females that she knows are feeling off. And I explained to her how the feminine energy primarily has been like it's been under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress because of all the aspects that Venus went through. How it was the transit through Cancer wasn't easy, that Venus went through, and as soon as it came into Leo and I was trying to look for some positivity, bam, then it opposed Pluto, bam, then it freaking squares the nodes. So it hasn't been exactly easy on that energy. So things are about to get rather mercurial. Things are about to get very hermetic. So that moon said it's going to make that sextile over to Jupiter. Whereas now there's going to be some sort of communication. We have to really pay attention to what our emotions are telling us on this day. When it hits around 3:30 or so, that's when this aspect is going to be really lit up at 5 degrees. Um, a lot of the focus is just how the moon pretty much every few hours or so makes another aspect. By the time it hits 6:30, boom, it's going to why am I saying boom? It's going to make a conjunction over to Saturn. So once again, Saturn, which has slowed down, the next time that the moon comes around, Saturn will be retrograde, right? So we're not going to get another moon conjunct Saturn while it's direct in Pisces, with especially with Pluto in Aquarius either. We're not going to get this energy again for a while. So that's the thing about it. So we're getting a lot of energies this week where that we're not going to see for a bit. Over the next 3 to 4 days, we're going to see that. And because let me out said the moon does go around every 28 days, right? But it's that layering quality of astrology that does make some days rare. That's why sometimes things can seem, that's why sometimes our days can seem pretty similar day to day, but then you have like these little quirks here and there, these little details here and there that could really make a huge difference. Now, what is the moon conjunct Saturn at 7 degrees? Well, seven is the number of Pisces, it is the number of Neptune. So This is definitely going to be where our soul, in many ways, is lighting up what our spiritual mission is. Now, granted, we got to remember this too: is that that moon is coming into that third quarter square of the sun. So this is a waning moon, right? So I think this is going to really be highlighting perhaps an aspect of our spiritual mission that needs to be upgraded, especially since a lot of these energies are starting to slow down. But I think really what this is, because I mentioned it in my Thursday one too, how we are uncovering like some superpowers that are lying dormant, right? So this is going to be the moment where, in many ways, we kind of learn about why these things were lying dormant, why these checks were put on us. Some of you guys some of you guys are destined to do some pretty awesome things, right? But you had to go through certain experiences. You had to experience certain hardships in many ways before you can really unlock those superpowers. So you had to get to a certain level in many ways. It's like you learn that, oh, I have the ability to learn hydro pump. All right. I'm gonna use hydro pump because I'm a nerd, right? So like say you you learned the fact that, hey, I have the ability to learn hydro pump, right? Well, in order to actually learn the move hydro pump, you actually have to grow a level or two or three or four or five or 10. So that's kind of where this is at. We are learning why it is that, you know, some of these blocks were put on us, some of these sort of restrictions were put on us so we can finally move forward, right? Now, as we continue to move that moon forward, by the time we get to the nighttime, it will hit 10 degrees as well. And you can see Pluto is definitely getting ready to come back into Capricorn. And a lot of these energies are going to start to retrograde. Friday is going to be like sort of like this weird day. It's going to be sort I'm not I heard the calm before the storm. That's what I heard in my head. So if Friday is for some reason is if it's like eerily quiet, that's why. Even though, like I said, it's going to be making nice aspects to all this Taurus energy, which has been involved with all these squares. All the Scorpio energy with the South Node, which, like I said, been involved with the squares. The harder aspect of the day, I guess, as far as the moon goes, is going to be, the quincunx over to Venus, and then by the end of the day, it'll start to quincunx over to Mars too. And the quincunx, it's somewhat of a minor aspect. Like I said, it can be a little awkward as well because there's one aspect of us that's really wanting to express itself and have courage and have the bravery to move things forward. But then there's another aspect of us that kind of wants to emotionally escape from it all and sort of like be just sort of like untethered, if you will. It's a different kind of untethering than Aquarius because Aquarius is fixed too, so it'll detach, but then it'll detach from one thing, but then like attach itself hard to another thing. Whereas the moon in Pisces wants to be like completely fluid and just go wherever it wants, right? So there's gonna be this aspect of us that kind of wants to just go wherever it wants, but then, like I said, it hits, you know, it makes the aspect to the nodes, it makes that aspect over to Venus. It makes that aspect over to Jupiter. It conjuncts Saturn, right? So you gotta remember too, the moon rules Cancer, Saturn rules Capricorn, so it's an opposite energy, and they're meeting up in Pisces, right? So it's going to be a very awkward, you know, conjunction, considering the fact that this is the first time that these energies would have conjuncted in Pisces since the opposition of Venus and Pluto, and that opposition hasn't happened since the 1700s. A lot of interesting energy, a lot of weird energy. Friday's going to be it's a bit of a weird day because we definitely can really feel like we're in between worlds. We can definitely feel like we're in this sort of purgatorial state because I think it's like we can feel that great things are on the horizon, especially if we have been really finding what it is that we need to really invest in with our values and what we really can create, what we can actually manifest, and how that's actually a real thing too. I think it's like sometimes when we say these kind of words, we can think that it's like all like super woo woo and all this sort of like it sounds super like magical. So, oh, you can manifest anything that you want. It's like, you actually can though. And if you have been on this path, and if you've been about it, you have seen ever since Jupiter came into Taurus, um, that you can see that no, this actually can happen. This really can. But it's like little bits and pieces of the puzzle are kind of falling into place right now. That's really what it is. So it's almost like sort of inception stuff. It's like the pieces are starting to fall into place, but then especially when Pluto goes into Capricorn, it's like we felt like we were ready to move to the bigger puzzle, and we caught just like a glimpse of it. So it's like if it's like a map, it's like a little part of the map was illuminated, but then we realized that, oh wait, hold on, we kind of have to go back. So now we have to go back to that one little puzzle piece and figure out all of the puzzle pieces within that piece itself. So it's sort of like this, like we went out, it's like, oh wow, holy crap, this is a whole new world. We just got like the tiny, just ever so slight bit of it. And then we're gonna kind of have to come back too. So I think Friday can definitely be a very positive day. I definitely think it can be a very positive day. It's just that you kind of want to just make sure that you're not overdoing it with the moon in Pisces, because the moon in Pisces definitely can overdo it. I had this natally. I have moon in Pisces at 28 degrees, mind you, in the fourth house. So I can definitely I definitely understand, that energy and stuff. So emotions are going to be a little bit heightened too, especially with the quincunx over to Venus and Mars, especially with the one over to Venus and Leo. Just be careful of potential blowups in relationships. Be romantic, platonic, friends. Just be a little on the lookout of that, because like I said, it could definitely be a day where people are wearing their heart on their sleeve and they don't necessarily realize it. And if they do potentially blow up, definitely do not take it personal. Okay. Even though we do have a lot of energy in personal planets, don't take it personal. Definitely don't take it personal, because we are all are doing our best to, you know, understand this new world and this new energy. Even those of us who are more aware of it and stuff like that, you know, we're still in this too. We're still in this thing just like everyone else, right? So let me see. The card of the day. Yeah, I have the card of the Hierophant. I'm not surprised that I got this card. And then the other card that I have the card of the Fool. Oh wow, this is like we need to make sure that we are paying attention to the right sources of wisdom, the right sources of knowledge, if you will. Because depending upon who you listen to, that can take your journey in one direction or the other. So we really have to make sure that we are paying attention to the right energy. I like how in this card the Fool is pretty much like a tree. That's like yeah, he's like pretty much like a tree, you know. So his knowledge comes from the earth too, and all of that information, that can come from being rooted in the earth, and all of that energy, that's where it comes from. And then of course, like I said, you do have this Fool card. So going on this journey, being that one, being the austere one, going out and just living your life. I want to draw another card because I think it's interesting that I got these two. So oh wow, see, I got the Tower in reverse. This means that, so this could be either one of two things. Either you have been holding on to a moment that is meant to collapse, or the collapse has already happened. And I'm feeling that for most people, the collapse has already happened, right? But there's like a potential to where we're wanting to kind of hold on to aspects of that collapse too. But I'm hearing that the collapse has already happened, and it's time to actually move into that new world. I think this Tower card in reverse is almost sort of like more of like a collective. It's more like for the larger collective instead of the personal. I think the personal is like with the Hierophant and the Fool. We have to learn how to trust that inner, that inner guide, if you will, because now we're rummaging around sort of like the debris of what has collapsed, and we all can feel that that's happening, right? We all feel that that's already happened in many ways, and now we're going to go back and figure out how and why things collapsed and stuff. So there's going to be a lot of disclosures and things like that that's going on. I'm going to draw one more card because we did get that tarot card. Yeah, we have the Six of Pentacles in reverse, right? Yeah, so yeah, definitely don't overextend yourself as far as that sort of stuff goes. This is not really a time where we can just give so much of ourselves to other people. It's kind of like how I mentioned in my video yesterday that, especially if you consider yourself an empaths have like terrible and shit ass boundaries. So the Six of the Pentacles here, definitely don't overextend yourself to too many people emotionally, because you're going to need that for yourself in order to really process what's going to be coming up too. So that's why I think this is going to be an eerily quiet day, because like the tower in reverse, like I said, that it's already happened. Like the collapse has already happened. So it's like you've already had the tower moment, right? So with the Six of Pentacles, we can feel like, man, like we've already had this thing collapse, and like we're not really going to be really in a place where we can give too much, unless unless you really have been on your Taurus energy and your Taurus journey and stuff like that, then you potentially could. But this is going to require some discernment. This is going to require some emotional discernment. That is the moon in Pisces conjunct Saturn in Pisces at 7 degrees is emotional discernment. That's going to be like the main energy of the day. Even though it's sort of like we build up to it, that's going to be like the main energy that I feel like we got to pay attention to. So I got the card of alchemy again, y'all. Man, that just means that that whatever has collapsed, we can take that and turn it into something amazing. We can take that and turn it into something amazing. This is like a Phoenix rising kind of moment. This is a boom, I'm a stamp of approval. This is a Phoenix rising kind of moment on Friday. That's freaking awesome. I love that we got alchemy 2 days in a row. So it's like we got the one side of the alchemy and then we got the other side, and now we're going to bring it all together, right? So today is a Phoenix rising kind of day. Has my stamp of approval. Bam. So know that you are being reborn. You are being revitalized today, even though it can feel a little awkward too, even though it can feel like you kind of want to emotionally get away in many ways. But just know that with, like I said, that moon conjuncting over to Saturn, we are going to get another download as far as our spiritual journeys and our spiritual mission goes. So stay hold fast, keep the line, keep it moving forward, stay focused, and smile often. That's how you're going to get through this is, keep moving forward, staying focused, and smiling often. That's really how we're going to get through this sort of time, because you're going to see this weekend too, with Pluto coming back into Capricorn and all this energy. And I was even looking ahead to and seeing how the Lionsgate energy is going to be activated this weekend, and then looking ahead of time to see what's happening on the Lionsgate and how things are matching up. It's literally insane, guys. Like so many things are going to be lining up to a lot of things are going to be activated. What is time right now? What is time? Some of you guys are going to feel Lionsgate energy this weekend, despite the fact that we still have another the sun will be at 19 degrees come the end of the day. Yeah, we'll have like another 40 days or so before that happens. We still have to go all the way through Cancer and finish up in Gemini. But that Lionsgate energy is actually going to be triggered this weekend too. So yeah, I'll talk about that in the weekend horoscope. But in any event, that's what I got for you all today. It's a Phoenix rising kind of a day. And there are going to be certain aspects of the past, of that old Phoenix, that we simply can't carry with us into the new world. But there is going to be some new things, some awesome, very positive, beautiful things that we are going to discover today. And that's going to make a huge difference in all of our lives. So that's what I have for you all today for this video. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate that. Make sure to hit the bell to receive all the notifications on my channel. And yeah, happy Friday. Enjoy the day. Try not to take things too seriously, but keep it moving forward. So I'll see you on the next video, guys. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. Peace.